welcome back. So what we're looking at today is lesson 5, defining equivalent ratios. So let's go ahead and jump right in. So tuna casserole. Here's a recipe for tuna casserole. So we've got 3 cups of cooked elbow-shaped pasta, 6 ounces of canned tuna drained, 10 ounces of canned cream of chicken soup, 1 cup of shredded cheddar cheese, and 1.5 cups of French fried onions. So it gives the instructions. Now, what we want to take a look at is what is the ratio of the ounces of soup to the cups of shredded cheese to the cups of pasta in one batch of casserole. So it is possible to have a ratio using more than just 2 numbers. So we're looking at the ounces of soup. So if we look, our soup is 10 ounces. So we're going to have 10 to 10. Sorry, these silly lines. 2. Now we want cups of shredded cheese. So that's 1. 2. The cups of pasta, which was 3. So 10 to 1 to 3. So there is our ratio for the one batch of casserole with those ingredients. So how much of each of these 3 ingredients would be needed to make twice the amount of casserole? So we're going to double all these amounts because we're looking at twice. So it'd be 20 to 2 to 6. What about half the amount? Well, half of 10 is 5. Half of 1 is 1/2. And half of 3 is 1 1/2. What about 5 times the amount? So 5 times 10 is going to give us, for some reason it won't scroll. Hang on. 10 times 5 is going to be 50. 1 times 5 is 5. And 3 times 5 is 15. Now, what about 1/5 the amount? So that means taking 10 and dividing it by 5 is going to give us 2. 1 divided by 5 is going to give us 1/5. And 3 divided by 5 is going to give us 3/5. So for number 3, what is the ratio of cups of pasta to ounces of tuna in one batch of casserole? So if we look back up at our recipe, maybe it'll let us. Looking at cups of pasta, which is 3, to ounces of tuna, which is 6. So 3 to 6. So coming back down here, it's 3 to 6. Sorry about the weird lines. All right, for number 4, how many batches of casserole would you make if you use the following amounts of ingredients? If you had 9 cups of pasta, so remember this number is our pasta, and 18 ounces of tuna. So how do we go from 3 to 9? We multiplied by 3, so that means we have 3 batches. What if we had 36 ounces of tuna and 18 cups of pasta? So what times, so the 6, remember, is our tuna. So this flips it, so you have to be careful. So how do we get from 3 to 18? We multiply by 6. How do we get from 6 to 36? We multiply by 6, so it'd be 6 batches. And what if we only had 1 cup of pasta to 2 ounces of tuna? So how do we go from 3 down to just 1? We divide by 3, so it'd be 1/3 of a batch. So we're making it smaller. So these are equivalent ratios. So these are ratios. Keyword is ratios for this lesson. Ratios. All right. What are equivalent ratios? The ratios 5:10 or 5:3 and 10:6 are equivalent ratios. is the ratio 15:12 equivalent to these? So can we reduce 15:12 down to 5:3? Well, both 15 and 12 are divisible by 3. 15 divided by 3 is 5. 12 divided by 3 is 4. Is 5:4 equivalent to 5:3? No, not equivalent. What about number 2? Is the ratio 30:18 equivalent to these? Well, 30 and 18, those are both divisible by 6. 30 divided by 6 is 5. 18 divided by 6 is 3. Yes, it is. It's times 6. So for our explanation, times 6. Give 2 more examples of ratios that are equivalent to 5:3. So we can multiply these by any 2. So this is times 2. We could look at times 3. So 5 times 3 is 15. 5 times 3 is 15. 3 times 3 is 9. We could look at times 4. 5 times 4 is 20. 3 times 4 is 12. There's another. We could do 5. That'd be 25 and 15. I know, lots of weird dots or weird lines. Apologize for that. So these are various equivalent ratios. We can multiply these both by 100, by 1,000. All of those would work. All right, for number 4, how do you know when ratios are equivalent and when they are not equivalent? So the key thing with how we know they're equivalent is we multiply both parts by the same number. So multiply both parts by the same number. Has to be both parts, and it has to be by the same number. So if we write a definition of equivalent ratios, so a ratio is equivalent to A to B when both A and B are multiplied by the same number. So give me a second and I will write this out. Definition of equivalent ratios is a ratio is equivalent to A to B when both A and B are multiplied by the same number. So like I said, you have to multiply both parts of your ratio by the same value to get an equivalent ratio. So if you guys have any questions,